Hello everybody and welcome to part 3 of liquidity. In this section we're going to be going over how to avoid getting liquidated. So now let's begin. So to stop getting liquidated, you must remember you should not enter at support and resistance zones anymore, right? Do not enter at them anymore. Also, do not enter at areas where liquidity lies. Make sure to not get caught in a trend line, so overall getting caught in liquidity. Do not enter with retail traders. Spot all areas of liquidity first. Put yourself in a pretend retail person perspective and see what they will do, only to avoid entering from that area, right? So we're going to go over that slowly. So to begin with, now first of all, this one ties in with these points over here. So make sure to not get caught in liquidity. Do not enter where liquidity lies. Do not enter with retail traders, and spot all areas of liquidity first. So we're going to go over those points now. So let's say there's an order block within this area over here, right? And you want to enter from this order block. So essentially what you've done is you've spotted a nice order block. Let's say it broke structure to the upside. It follows, the majority of our rules, but it's also an area of support. So what's going to happen is price may come back into your zone and it may show some reaction, but eventually you might get stopped out, right? And it's very likely you will get stopped out because there is liquidity here which can be grabbed. Even though it is an order block, right, and you may get some reaction, you may, get liquidated, right? For the exact reason because there is liquidity within this area. There's loads of stop losses below this area, including your own stop loss, right? Because, you're entering from this zone, right? And, smart money could be interested in grabbing the liquidity within this area, right? And so that's how you would, unfortunately get stopped out. And now if we look at this from the other side of the market, and look at this from the sell side, right? So let's say we've got an order block within this area, right here we've got an order block. You're looking to enter from that order block. The problem is we've also got an area of retail resistance, right? So very well what could happen is price could tap, show some reaction, but eventually liquidate you and stop you out completely, right? So you want to avoid entering from zones like this. And yeah, so that's how you avoid getting liquidated in that sense. Now, to not enter and get caught with trend lines is more difficult. So I'm going to show you guys an example to understand this a little bit better. So if we begin with this, right? So let's say you spotted an order block over here, right? And it's not a perfect order block. It does seem to be mitigated in some sense. However, let's say you were trying to enter from this order block, right? And the problem with this order block is, first of all, it aligns with a trend line, right? And almost perfectly aligns with the trend line. So right here, we've got this trend line and it pretty much aligns perfectly with it. So if you're about to sell when price comes back into this zone, it's very likely what's going to happen, right? So what's going to happen, right? Price is going to take out this trend line. Smart money is going to grab all the liquidity, including you, at this trend line, because yes, it is an order block, right? And yes, you may see some reaction to the order block. Overall, price will come to liquidate this zone, right? Because there's loads of liquidity lying above this trend line. And so even if I play price now, we may see some reaction, right? But overall, what's gonna happen to price? Price is gonna smash through the zone, right? So if I show you that now, right? So at this point, right, loads of smart money traders, people who are trading the better way of trading, right? They may be happy with this entry until so if I just bring this out, right, they're up until that point they're in profit, right? So let me just show you what I mean by that. So up until this point, yeah, they're in profit, bang, they get stopped out. Why? Because price is looking to liquidate this trend line, and eventually what happens? Price liquidates that trend line, liquidity is grabbed within this area. Then we're going to see, price doing its own thing. We may see a creation from an order block from here, or we may see creation of more liquidity, which then price will continue to, look to get, to grab, and, may mitigate an order block within here, so on and so forth, right? So what you've done here is wrong in terms of entering alongside, not entering alongside retail traders, getting caught in a trend line becoming liquidated, right? Because at this point, not a lot of retail traders are going to look to to sell. but at this point many of them are, and you know, price is eventually going to reach this point, right? So that's why you need to watch out. Now put yourself in a retail perspective, right? So with this one, essentially what's going on is you are putting yourself in a retail perspective, right? Just to understand what's going on in the current market. So let's say price was at this point, for example, right? Let's say price was here. We'll say right here, right? So we've got support and resistance, you know, zones at this point, right? So if I put myself in a retail trader perspective, will I be looking to buy from this point? Yes, I will. Will I be looking to sell from this point? Yes, I will. So what can we expect? Price is going to liquidate this area, right? And why is this useful, right? So over here, we've got a nice order block, right? And so this can be used as confluence, right? So if we know retail traders are looking to sell here, then smart money is going to grab this area and tap into our zone, right? So we can use this area as confluence. That's why you want to put yourself in the retail trader perspective, because you can, you know, be more confident in taking this trade, knowing that there's liquidity to be grabbed here. Liquidity is grabbed, and then, you know, price taps into our zone. It follows like a storyline, perfect, right? So here we have price action, right? Then we have, you know, the liquidity here. Price will grab the liquidity, come into our zone. Smart money taps into our zone, mitigates the order block within here, and then they go ahead and make, you know, their money, right? So, you know, that's the idea of putting yourself in a retail person's perspective. Not only that, you can also use it, for example, to avoid taking a trade. So let's say, for example, at this point there was a buy order block, right? Or for example, so let's say at this point there was a buy order block, right? You don't want to be taking this buy order block, because if we think about this in a retail trader's perspective, they will also be looking to buy when price comes back to reach this area. Why? Because that is, you know, an area of support. And so what exactly is going to happen? Do we know? Smart money is going to grab that liquidity, right? And that's exactly what happens, right? So that's something that you need to keep in mind, putting yourself in a retail person's perspective. Now let's move on. Is there anything else that we need to go over? Spot all areas of liquidity first. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're looking to I don't know, let's say you're looking to enter from an area over here, right? So we'll just replay price to about here. Before I enter from here, I need to understand that above this area is a lot of liquidity, right? We've got support here, resistance there. We've got you know, more resistance here. We've got this whole resistance zone, right? So what can we expect? We can also expect, as well as price mitigating our order block, we can also expect price to perhaps stop us out and instead grab this liquidity, right? Because they are quite close to each other. So price can easily, you know, do this, mitigate, grab the liquidity, stopping us out. So we need to watch out for scenarios like that before entering, spotting areas of liquidity, right? Because if I show you what happens, eventually we do get stopped out if we were to enter from the zone, right? So you need to avoid entering from zones like this, because there's liquidity close by. So yeah, that's everything to do with this session, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you found it educational, and I'll see you guys in the next one.